In the last 60 years, our leisure time has increased fivefold. Leisure time, that is, as defined by time not needed to just survive. 60 years ago, many people worked 6 days a week and 10 hours a day. What little non-working time they did have was often spent by necessity growing food, cooking, cleaning, and generally keeping body and soul together. If you lived in a city, you might just manage a visit to a cinema or a football match. Holidays were a day trip to the seaside or a coach trip into the countryside. All the time that could be spared or afforded in a life that constituted all work and little play. Life was hard, with little or no time to enjoy yourself. Today, things are very much different. With a working week of under 40 hours, convenience foods, cars, washing machines and other labour-saving devices, nearly everyone has much more time to spend as they please, to enjoy themselves. Many people have become so involved in their chosen enjoyment, their leisure activity, that over time it has become a way of life, a passion that takes enjoyment to new thresholds of dedication. Imagine a cold, wet, foggy December. This is the time of year that more than 300 people choose to enjoy some of England's best shire countryside. And incredibly, about the same number are needed to help them. For 25 years, walkers from all over the country have assembled in Banbury in North Oxfordshire on the first weekend in December to take part in a challenge walk called the Tour de Trigs. A walk designed to be as notoriously tough as the Tour de France cycle race from which it draws its name. As part of the Silver Jubilee anniversary celebrations, we set out to capture the event, to find out why people should try to walk 50 miles in 24 hours and what makes so many people give up their spare time to help them. Colin Marchington explained that detailed planning started very early in the year.
Basically, around about February of the year that the walk is in, we actually go out and start talking to farm owners, landowners, tenants whose land we believe we might be walking over during that year's walk. Each year I try to alter the walk a little bit so that people don't become complacent or believe they know the whole of the route and therefore find it easy to walk if they've already walked the previous year. Until about 10 years ago, the route was always a fixed route, and it was called the Tour de Trigs simply because we visited trig points on tops of hilltops. Now, there's not so many trig points as there used to be, which gives me some reason to be able to go and alter the route to the route that I wish. Also, I'm trying to get, as I said, more off-road.
The High Headquarters is based at the Blessed George Napier Roman Catholic School on the outskirts of the town. Organisers and equipment arrive early, and so do the first of the problems.
We attempt to anticipate most of the problems for the weekend. Our biggest worry is going to be fog. Last year we had teams meeting one another from opposite directions, and when they're all supposed to be going the same way, that causes quite a lot of confusion, and that's our major worry, fog or snow.
The route is extremely tough, far tougher than would appear from a quick glance at the map. And with an anticipated dropout rate of more than 60%, over the years it's never been less than 50%, checkpoint marshals get a detailed briefing on all aspects of safety.
What we've done with the route this year is to push it further east. So we're going out round Thenford. We have changed Farnborough. We've moved it to Mollington, but you are by the school. We've then pushed the route very similar to previous years. It's gone out and around via Kirby Farm up to Brails, High Wall Spinney, back down again round to Doctor's Barn, Margaret's Hill area. It looks that we could have frost, so please be aware of that with your checkpoint teams. We're obviously going to have the rescue keeping an eye on you, as well as the teams. We are also going to have fog, it's highly likely. That is the one area where I do get concerned, because fog is where we can lose teams all too easily.
Most of the competitors arrive early on Saturday morning. Last-minute preparations are made, and anything that is forgotten can be purchased from the Banbury and District Scout Shop.
We are really just trying to provide a backup to the walkers. We aim to provide any of this equipment that they forget. The theory is that if anyone comes along missing something, they can get it here.
But before they can go any further, a strict kit inspection is carried out. The safety and well-being of everyone features high on the organisers' list of priorities.
The next thing is to ensure that all the teams are flowing neatly through the kit check. We always get questions, no matter that we write the rules carefully. Somebody always tries to come through with an article of clothing that is very marginal. And with modern technology boots, that's difficult to define what is the right boot and what is the wrong boot. Members of the staff who've got site queries, so the morning, this time of the morning, is always pretty hectic.
Is that all right?
Well, it's the first time in 10 years that we're doing that.
Well, that's my ruling on it. This is my first year. So, but it does say that each team member must be carrying. The team is coming. The team is coming with 2 rucksacks. Right. And one team member is not carrying a rucksack and is walking without a pack. But the rules do state that each member must be carrying on himself his own spare walking socks, spare torch, batteries, food for consumption on the hike, pullover and waterproofs. Right. But he cannot be carrying them if they're in somebody else's kit. Now, if that gentleman, one of those 2 gentlemen, pulled out and took his kit with him, the other guy would not be covered. He would not have his waterproofs and therefore if we did a spot check, we could then disqualify him for not carrying that equipment. So therefore he must be carrying it.
Although the event is organised by the Banbury and District Scout Council, people of all ages and experience come to test their endurance. The youngest in 1990 are 3 venture scouts from Wellingborough in Leicestershire.
It's a challenge. Yeah, just wanted to have a go. See if we can do it.
What do you think is going to be the toughest part?
The toughest part? No. All of it. No, I don't know. People have told us there's certain parts of it that's the hardest.
Others are more experienced.
A lot of mountaineering experience and a lot of running. A lot of mountain navigation. And events like the Carrymore International Marathon and the Rock and Run.
I've done the Trigs before, yeah.
How many times?
4 times. Completed it 3, dropped out once.
I was talked into it. This man
Right,
talked both of them into it.
Yeah. Well,
He's the
we
trouble.
all like doing long walks, so we've done a few 50s. Well, I've done a few 50s, and we've done 30s and 40 miles.
But why do they do it?
It's the satisfaction at the end of peeling all your filthy clothes off and stepping into a nice hot bath and then getting up and thinking you've done it, regardless of how long it takes you.
And every year she says, I'll never do it again.
And every year I do.
To finish will be an achievement, but we're aiming at 20 hours.
Yeah, 20 hours.
If we could finish about breakfast time tomorrow, that would be just about right.
Right, team number 1, please come here.
No, anywhere.
The first team away are 3 venture scouts from the Range Park Venture Unit. Each competitor has completed a medical form and is seen by the hike doctor before setting off.
See you in about 2 days. Yeah.
Dr. Roger Shapley has been connected with the hike for some years.
I've doctored it once before, a long time ago. Then I walked it 3 times, and it actually it was such a marvellous experience walking the thing, and it engenders such a feeling of comradeship and friendliness and so on, that one wanted to take part in a helping capacity at some later stage, which I'm doing now. Well, this morning I've come here to check the walkers going through, to make sure they're fit and healthy, and that none of them is going to collapse on this 50-mile jaunt they're setting off on.
What are you actually looking for in terms of medical?
Well, they've all got a piece of paper which they've had to fill in beforehand, which lists the medicines they're currently taking and asks them whether they've had any recent and serious illnesses. So we check these forms as they come through, which they've filled in, and we ask them specifically whether they've had things like flu or gastroenteritis or sore throats or coughs or colds in the recent past. In addition to that, we're interested in any chronic illnesses they might have, such as arthritis or any other serious condition, epilepsy, asthma and so on, which might make a difference to their ability to take part in a long-distance walk.
Do any of you take any regular medication for asthma or anything? No? All right, off you go. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll play this until the tape goes.
Yeah.
down a little teeny bit of the road and then...
Okay, best of luck.
Thanks, bye-bye.
3, please.
Now we go.
Those references to the motorway are correct.
So you've done it before?
Yeah, 5 times.
What makes you come back and do it?
Oh, stupidity, I think. get away from the wife for a bit. No, it's enjoyable. It's a challenge, especially when there's a new route.
But 50 miles, and you really call that enjoyable?
Yes, why not?
So what's the most enjoyable thing about it then?
Finishing.
In just 2 hours, nearly 100 teams are officially started. By 12:30, 300 walkers are out in the Oxfordshire countryside. The organisation that tracks each one moves into top gear.
So otherwise it's unfair advantage to...
Yeah, well, they went, whatever it was, they went and bought other rucksacks, and they got another rucksack, so that's the only discrepancies I had.
Fine. As you probably saw discussing with the rescue team leader there, we've got a few people that are marginal on boots and on trousers that we've had some discussions with them on, but everybody seems to have gone off reasonably well prepared, in good spirits. We've got all the communications up and running, so that's working well. We've got the plotting going on the board and the first entries onto the computer. So shortly we will have a reasonable idea what's going on in the hike and start to get a little bit of predictions on the beginning sections.
Banbury Scouts call on the services of many specialists to help the smooth running of the event.
We're radio hams who are pledged to support the community in whatever way is possible. We do events more for training than anything else.
Right, yes, it's the Sea Cadet Corps, and we're providing the safety radio communications for the hike. And we have a number of Sea Cadets who are positioned both at the control here and also out at the checkpoints. And at the checkpoints, as the teams come through, they're checked off by the checkpoint marshal, and then the radio operator sends the arrival times and departure times through to control here. Okay, that's the eastern side of the whole net. But at the western end, they link into another main control station, and that information is sent through on a data link, and that's what you see here. It's all the information is coming through on a data link. Is that an easy one? All the information, whether from the eastern side or the western side, is then fed into the hike control, and they keep a tally of all the teams as they go through the checkpoints.
We're just inputting everybody that started the walk as to their team numbers and to link them up with their teams so that when they finish the walk, we know who's won and we can print up the certificates from it as well. Everybody that finishes gets a certificate. This is my 6th year in the control room.
Have you noticed any change over the 6 years?
Oh yeah. 6 years ago I was sat here with a headset on writing it all down, and then it was taken away, handwritten, to someone else who put it into the computer, and now it's just straight on the phone, as you've seen over there, straight into the computer. It's a lot easier, a lot less work.
Why do you come back each year?
It's just something really different, and there's people here that I don't see from year to year, and you see everyone, and it's just so different. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, this is where we record the information that's come in from the checkpoints, in addition to the information that's gone on the computer. Because one of the problems we find with the computer is you can't access all the information all the time. Here, any number of people can look at the board and make their own judgments of the situation.
Follow winding ditch, oh God, look at that. Follow winding ditch to 404 455.
With a maximum of 8 hours daylight during the 24 hours allowable, the safety of the hikers is paramount. Each team's position is recorded at regular manned and unmanned checkpoints.
Just north of Morton Heights.
What's west of Crop
We're feeling very well and doing very good so far. No blisters, no aches and pains, no nothing.
And feeling hungry.
You're feeling hungry?
Feeling hungry at the moment.
So what are you going to do for food?
Oh, we're going to have
Mars bars.
Will you eat it as you go along, or will you stop?
We did stop for lunch, actually. We stopped for about 5 minutes.
We're very gentlemanly.
It's the third, fourth time. Yeah, we've done it. I'll finish it every time now.
So why do you keep coming back then?
Oh, it's
the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always a challenge.
This is it's the ultimate one, this one.
Yeah, it's the best.
Even more so.
Well organised, it's a good event, good fun.
We're off.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best.
See ya.
Please, I've got them here. We're going to wait for the others.
How many miles have you done so far?
We don't know. Not enough. No.
My girl.
12, there you go. Yes, by the way, it's the Quennyburn 12 stunning miles.
"15 miles into the hike, and some people are already in trouble. You're just feeling rough?
Yeah, I just felt a bit rough, that was it. Because I just got over the flu last week, so it didn't help.
So you pulled out too, have you?
Yes.
Why is that?
Oh, my team might be able to go a bit faster without me, and I'm having knee trouble.
Soles of my feet are burning me like mad.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that a problem you had before?
No, I practice in London, so we don't get many hills or mud and manure-spread fields, so it wasn't the same sort of thing. I used to practice about 20 miles on a Sunday, but I wasn't prepared for this.
So you found it a bit tough going? Yeah. For others, a hot drink is enough sustenance to see them on their way.
We have to sign them in when they come to us first, and we have to ask them if they're going to go on. Some of them can't decide, some of them are going to wait. They may retire, they may carry on, and we have to log everything so we know where everyone is at the time.
Okay. So where's the retirement? You're the retirement, okay. Is Dad hockeying?
2 of them are retiring.
Right.
They dropped out because they couldn't go any further. We really came along just for the sheer enjoyment and challenge of doing what we've done. I'm going to wait and see if there's anybody as old and unfit as me so that I can join them. I can join an ad hoc team, which can be a maximum size of 5, I've been told. No. You sure you want to take me on as a liability?
Yeah.
I think we ought to.
Okay, right, fine.
Okay, so I've got you down
Yeah,
ad hoc
okay.
with
Fine.
36.
Ad hoc with our boys.
Competitors are not allowed to walk in teams of less than 3. When somebody drops out, other team members are required to ad hoc join another team, making up a group of not more than 5. Should an accident happen, there is always someone to stay with the injured person and someone to go for help.
That's okay then. Yep. Yep, first message, yep.
Well, I'm the checkpoint marshal on checkpoint 3. I'm hopefully booking the walkers in and progressing them on their way. We're also hoping to give them some refreshments, which is the first hot drinks on the way, and send them off with a smile on their face.
But,
And what about times? Is it fast?
well, they're later getting here. We're open a bit later, and they're certainly spread out a bit more than they were in the past. But there's been a long cross-country hike to get here across open fields, so there's perhaps some cause for the delays.
The hike at the moment seems to be going slightly slower than previous years. Don't quite know why. Slightly different route, and that's probably making them think. They should have had enough time for plotting the route, because this year we never issued a route. Landowners, problems, so what we said, they must practice elsewhere. So they've had a total new route this year, whereas before they were able to plot it. But we gave them an extra quarter of an hour to plot their route to get the thing underway.
Now that all the teams are out on the route, there is time for the organising staff to get something to eat. Nearly 20% of the helpers are involved with catering.
50 altogether actually helping with catering over the weekend.
Really?
We have breakfast first thing in the morning for the people that have stayed overnight in the Sea Cadets. And then we're open for snacks whilst everybody is busy running around in the morning and getting away. And then what are we doing for lunch?
For lunch we got mincemeat, and then I think it's jam, pie for pudding. And then in the evening we've got roast beef, baked potatoes with vegetables, followed by homemade rice pudding. And then we serve snacks throughout the night. And then Sunday we cater for all the walkers that come back, which can be up to 300 of them. And they get a sort of a fried breakfast with chips.
Apart from the 50-strong catering team, another 250 volunteers work hard to make the hike as smooth running as possible.
We start early on a Friday and we finish 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. So we have to have relief all the time, people coming in and going off.
Why do they do it?
Obviously, for the kids that are out in the cold, in the mud. We don't do it for ourselves, we do it for the people that are out there actually making the event. So our time is easy, we're in the warm. The checkpoint marshals, they're out in the cold on the hill. Your walkers, they're struggling to get round. Some come in excellent, others really find it hard to finish and complete the course. But they've all done well, and it's because of them we're here.
But as somebody said earlier on in the evening, it's the tour. It's a hike, it's a once-a-year event. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'd like to do it for a few more years as well.
I think it's just an enjoyment of the event, really, of being in amongst the sort of the so-called action, I suppose you could say. But it's sort of a love-hate relationship, isn't it? I think that.
Right, and the last time we saw you was at checkpoint 3. What's happened since then?
I've pulled my hamstring in my leg.
So that meant you had to drop out?
Yeah, a bit painful.
And what about your two colleagues, your two friends?
Oh, they're fine, they're keeping going.
Right. So you don't know perhaps how far they've got? So
no, but I hope they finish it.
14 hours have passed since the first team set out into the Oxfordshire countryside. Time and conditions have taken their toll. But so far, nobody has been forced to drop out because of a time penalty.
Still going remarkably well. We've got no teams on auto-retire, which is surprising us all. Perhaps we've made it too easy on the cut-off times, but generally teams are going very well. We've had quite a few retirements. Currently we have about 66 retired.
Have a look at the it's split at the end of this toe.
Yeah, and it's split in the gap as well.
In between.
Has it proved tougher than you thought, or?
Yeah, I think it is. It's harder than what we thought it would be. Yeah. We didn't have a very good start. One of our team members hurt their knees, so we were slow sort of all through checkpoint 2 to 3. So I think that's slowed us down. So all the way we've been about a little bit.
And what do you think has been toughest about it? The mud.
Yeah. I think the unmanned checkpoints are hard because we found checkpoint 7, the second unmanned checkpoint just by luck. We was walking down there and it was there. There was just a cone in there, but I think that's the worst bit.
So we saw you last at checkpoint 3.
Yes.
And you lost one of your team there.
Yeah.
Now, do we have another catastrophe here?
Oh, I wouldn't call it a catastrophe, but yeah, I'm dropping out.
You're dropping out?
Yeah.
Hell of a week. It is a hell of a week.
Yeah, we're raising money for Northampton General Hospital Children's Ward, so it won't be for nothing.
Get, close to £200 if we do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we'll probably get it now anyway.
We should be walking, but we're not because our feet have gone to sleep.
I don't think we have, but I just need to check again. And also whether we've got any walkers overdue waiting pickup. I don't think we have, but I'd just like to check.
How does that stack up with previous years at this sort of
It's
stage?
fairly low, so it shows that most people are pretty fit. On the first team has just gone through checkpoint 14, so they could well be home by around 12:30, 1 o'clock time. So they're going very well.
Just round there. Just round. Do you want to
Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, first team home. In a time that you hope to do?
Yes, we hope to do any time that we do, basically. But it's nice to finish under 14 hours, I think.
And what did you reckon your time was? I saw you checking your watches.
13:51 or 13:52.
That's not bad.
So we had to run the last bit to make sure.
Now, this isn't the first time, is it, that you've been in the Trigs?
No, Brian's probably got the hit.
I first went into the Tour de Trigs about 1979, but it took me 4 times to actually complete it. And then I've done it about the last, I think, 8 or 9 years.
It's my first time.
Your first time?
Yes.
And this is a very fast time, so are you pleased with that?
Yes.
Or is it
Thanks to my friend's excellent navigation. After all these years, he should know the way by now.
Again.
50 miles in under 14 hours. Why does anyone take pleasure in such a punishing walk?
They're all challenges, and to finish feeling reasonable. They don't have to be races, just to finish and take part and meet people, talk to people. That's really the main satisfaction one gets. To do something like this where there is an element of competition and possibly come in first, then that's a sort of icing on the cake. And we'll have to wait and see whether that's going to be the case.
And to finish inside 24 hours is a major achievement. You're back here at Banbury. Now, last time we saw you, you just come across a field and come up to the gate. It was just before checkpoint 3.
We were going very strongly then.
Yes.
But after the rest of the 50 miles, we were a little bit tired, you know.
But you actually completed?
Yes, we completed. Yes, as a team. Got round in 23 and a half hours. So we're quite pleased about that. At one time we thought we wouldn't complete.
Several times. Yes, there were moments, let us say, but a few mistakes with the map reading, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, it didn't help.
Even those who fail to finish still get a great deal of satisfaction from the event.
I really enjoyed it. Got as far as checkpoint 6. I formed an ad hoc team with some venture scouts that set a cracking pace. And I couldn't take it. But I had a lovely time. I must say that I was very impressed at the leadership of these young men in the venture scouts. I was impressed with their sense of comradeship and the team spirit that they showed. I was really surprised that these young men and a young lady as well took me on and took me as one of theirs quite readily, and helped me through and gave me the opportunity to progress 3 more checkpoints after when I saw you at checkpoint 3 at Mollington. And I had a lovely time. I really got a great deal of pleasure out of walking those extra miles with them.
But whether you succeeded or not, whether you got home, whether you got a prize or not, I can understand the satisfaction you have. And I hope those who don't succeed come back and try again. Because the whole of life is all about satisfaction. and it must be great fun for you. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing how many people have succeeded.
We finished.
And you're pleased with that?
That was the objective, yeah.
More than pleased.
Just to finish.
And what about your time? Are you pleased with it?
No, because we had a few problems, but, you know, it's because one of our members has dropped out, but I mean, that's life, isn't it? Back next year to win it.
Oh, it's good. We'll get further next year, definitely, yeah.
We knew it was going to be hard.
But not this hard.
It's just something that you like to prove yourself that you can do.
On behalf of the people of Banbury, which I represent, that's 42,000 people, I say thank you. I say thank you for putting Scouting on the map. I say thank you for putting Banbury on the map. In 25 years, you've gone from 12 teams to the number of teams you had here today, just under 100. A marvellous operation, a marvellous ability to tell Banbury, tell the world and tell Britain about Banbury. Thank you very much indeed. It shows that we are a place to be reckoned with, not only commercially and industrially, but socially. All of those that have come to visit us today, thank you for coming. I hope you've enjoyed what we are able to do in this area, and the people who I've been asked to represent for a year, I'm very, very grateful on their behalf that you've come along.
The challenge? I don't know, I just fancy the challenge. I don't know if I can do it.
Bit of a kick, I suppose, to feel part of an organisation like this, you know, and that it's actually happening, and you're taking part and helping it happen, and helping to make sure that the people that are out there just plodding around in the field, around the fields, are doing it safely. And I think, you know, that's why I do it.
And will he come back next year?
I don't know. I'll think about it, definitely. It depends where I am, if I'm like at university or something. It depends on the situation, but I'd like to try it again.
Now,
I must be a mug.
But some certainly over 10 years have been, you know, quite regular attenders. They all seem to age as they go on, but they still seem to come back.
Nick Kay, Brian Williams, and Chris Coy, Long Distance Walkers Association Intrepids, in 13 hours 52 minutes, they received 3 awards. They received the Tour de Trigs trophy as the fastest team, the Class B trophy, and as they come from more than 30 miles radius from Banbury, they received the handicap trophy.